Hello everyone and welcome to Dear Jill, the podcast all about you guys, about your dilemmas, your problems, big or small, silly or serious. We just want to hear from you. So if there's anything on your mind at all, remember, this is your chance, this is your platform to voice note us or to email us and just get in touch. Let us know what's on your mind and hopefully we can help.
What's been happening then, Jill?
Oh, I'm in a bad mood today, you know.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and you know what? If you said to me why, the most embarrassing thing is I couldn't really tell you. Like, really, I'm having one of those moments where like nothing's right but nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
And you sort of feel almost like almost more pathetic saying that because it's not even like I have a legitimate reason. I'm just like I'm in a bad mood.
Wrong side of the bed?
Do you know what? I had such a good sleep last night.
It's nothing. The weather's all right. You had a nice sleep.
Tell you what I did do this morning that I've never done before.
Go on.
I had a mammogram.
A what?
Do you know what a mammogram is?
Is it a scan of some sort?
Well, it's a breast examination.
Of course.
Yeah, when you hit a certain age, you know. So you get your letter from the NHS. You have to go along. And everybody, you know, when I was younger and my mum used to get them, I always remember her saying like she didn't like them and, you know, I've got to go and get one and, they're horrible. And they're not. For anyone listening, please get your mammograms. It's really important. And yeah, you know, somebody does squash your tits in a machine. That's what happens. Literally got them handled into a machine. But hey, handle them all you want. Because if you can detect something early on, then that's the idea, isn't it? That's what we're looking for. So I do know that some people are a bit weird about things like that, or maybe not weird, frightened. They just feel a bit vulnerable. It just feels very exposing. So I just want anyone who was possibly trying to put one of those examinations off or thinking, I'll rebook it or I'll go on. I was in and out in 5 minutes. The ladies could not have been nicer. Just do it. It's just so much better than the alternative, isn't it?
Did it hurt?
I mean, it hurts as much as like if I was to put my boob in my hand and go and squash it. That's the feeling. So it's not like someone's pinching your nipple or something where you're like, ah! It's just squashing your boob so that they can get a reading on it. But I mean, give me a mammogram over a smear any day.
Oh, yes.
I mean, honestly, like, I really don't, I mean, I will always get them, of course, for this exactly the same reason. But yeah, I mean, smears, no. I really don't like, I don't like anything about them.
No, I have, when you get to that age, I got the first letter.
Did you?
And I was, you know, people, I know my friends, they've always been like, oh, that's just you, letter 1, just wait till letter 3. And I'm just like, no. There's no chance. I had it booked in. The nurse was like,
good for you.
You're here before you should be, really, because we just sent you a letter to just say that this will be coming up. I was like, no, I want it done. I want it done.
Oh, good for you. I think that's really good. I mean, listen, you know, of course, like no one's going to go, oh, get in. Got me smear coming up tomorrow. But, you know, it's important. We've got to look after ourselves, haven't we?
Yeah, and there's nothing more embarrassing, but you got to think they've seen it all.
Do you know, I had a smear about a year ago. So I'm going to be 50 this year. So I've had a lot of smears in the past. So I had a smear about a year ago. And just before she put the, I want to say speculum. Is that the name of the instrument?
I think so.
Just before she put the speculum in, she said to me, small, medium or large? I said, I'm sorry. I've had a lot of smears in my past. No one's ever asked me for small. Are you actually, is that a thing? She said, yeah, of course. You're all different sizes. I said, but no one's ever asked me. And she went, well, and I went, I'll take a small. But yeah, I've never, ever been asked that. So all I'm presuming is usually you do what you need to do. They take a look and they just decide for themselves which one they're going to use. But that was so bizarre to me that after all that many years I've had smears, no one's ever said that.
No, never.
It was very interesting.
Small, medium or large?
Small, medium. You could say that now. You go, I'm a small love.
I've done this before. Put the large. first voice note is from Harry.
Dear Jill, I hope you can help me with this problem that is really starting to bother me. I have a neighbour who's also been a friend for about a year. We enjoy doing things together and she's always been helpful, considerate and fun to be around. The problem is that she loves to cook and she frequently brings me food or invites herself over for dinner where she brings most of the meal. However, her cooking isn't very good. At least not to my liking anyway. I've tried different excuses as to why I couldn't accept things. I even told her I had an upset stomach and wouldn't be able to eat anything. I manage to eat what she cooks when I'm with her, but I feel bad accepting the leftovers and just throwing most of them away. The last straw was when she recently brought me over a big bowl of chilli, which had a long hair in it. Ugh. Yeah, it really disgusted me. Still does now. So I threw it away. I didn't mention that she's not the cleanest person I know, but I do want to stay friends with her and I don't want to hurt her feelings. So should I just continue to accept her food, then let it go to waste, or do you think I should be upfront with her? Or can you suggest another way to handle this? I really don't want to lose our friendship. And we're always going to be neighbours.
Oh, Harry. Oh, the chili with the hair. Oh, sent me over the edge. Right, okay. We've done enough of these episodes for people to know that I'm usually all about honesty. Yeah? And I would usually never, ever ask anyone to lie. However, Harry, what I'm thinking, this is a really, really tricky. You like her friendship, you want to stay friends with her, you're just not into the food. As far as I can see, you've only got two options. You either go all out honest and probably hurt her feelings, or this is my only other option here. I'm really, my brain's going like, you have to say something like, bless me, Father, I'm about to lie. You have to say something like, all right, I'm on a sort of a diet of some sort, or I'm on a nutrition plan, and I'm starting to like be really specific about what I want to eat and when I want to eat it. So as much as I love like eating with you, I'm gonna start being a bit more particular about sort of when and what I eat. So, you know, by all means, I'll come over and I'll have a cup of tea, and I love catching up with you and I love having a chat and I love our friendship. But as far as the food goes, you know, it just feels like it would be a waste. Like when you drop it off, I'm not going to be able to eat it if it's not part of the plan that I'm on. I mean, that's a big old fat lie, isn't it? But what else do you do? What else? The thing is, like, you know, her language of wanting to connect with you and her language of wanting to feel close to you is the food. And maybe she feels without the food, like she isn't enough. And that's her way of connecting with you. So you want to make sure that she understands that you just love her for who she is, and the food is not necessary for you to stay friends. And then, you know, you can also lay it on a bit thick and say like the food that you're giving me now will just go to waste. I mean right. So that's the lying option. Or you just all out honest and you just say it's just. I just want to eat my own food, God damn it. Without hairs in it. This is really hard. This is really hard. You know what? My gut is saying lie. Just lie. Just soften the blow a bit. Just sort of gently kind of let her down and just see if she sort of backs off a bit. I'll be honest with you. I find if someone was doing that to me, I would find it very intrusive. I would feel like very kind of back off. It's like every so often if somebody brought something, that's lovely. But if someone was bringing me something every week or twice, I would actually, just thinking about it is making me feel quite claustrophobic. So, yeah, have a chat with her. It sounds like you have a good friendship, and just try and be honest, or, you know, lie a little bit and just let her down gently and see how that goes. Whew, Emma.
The podcast that's all about open and honesty. It does. What's going on?
Sometimes, what do you think? Would you just be like, I don't like your food?
No, of course I wouldn't. Of course I wouldn't. I think that thing about it's an excuse. So maybe just like make something that so she doesn't feel like she has to have an excuse to come round, or an excuse to drop something off, or an excuse to see you. Just see them.
I had a friend that had a friend, notice I'm not naming any names, that she was so full on, this friend, and she would come round a lot uninvited, and she would knock on the door and my friend would lie on our kitchen floor so that when she looked through the letterbox, she wouldn't be able to see her because she just didn't want to answer the door. This is what some people push people to.
I'm going to say something, that I have a secret knock on my door. So if you do the secret knock, I know to answer the door. If you do the normal knock, I know you're just somebody that I don't really care about.
So your mum knows the secret knock.
Yes.
Your boyfriend knows the secret knock.
Yes.
How many of your friends?
The ones that need to know.
The ones... We're not allowed to know the secret knock, are we?
Absolutely
Otherwise,
not.
I'm going to play Knocky Nine Door. I'm going to come round to yours. Wow.
Yeah.
Because you don't like answering to cold callers and that type of thing.
I don't like cold calls.
Yeah.
And you know when you're just busy?
You're
in
of
the
course,
house,
yeah.
you've got stuff to do, and I don't have time to sit and have a coffee. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So if there is a knock on the door, it's like, dot behind the door.
Yeah. But when you get a tick, 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 or whatever it is,
Yeah,
you
I'm
go,
like, I've got time for you, it's fine.
ah.
Or I can tell you just to leave. You know what I mean? I don't feel bad for that.
That's good.
There you go.
That's very good. But I live in a block of flats, so they'd have to have a secret buzz, wouldn't they? Like,
Yeah.
zzz, 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 zzz.
That's fine. Like Morse code. Their name or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Our next one is from Louise.
Dear Jill, I have a strange situation. My partner works away 6 months of the year, month on, month off. We met on Tinder a few years ago. He lives 2 hours away. Now we're looking at buying a house, and firstly we were looking halfway. Now he solely wants to live in his home city and expects me to move away from my family, but 5 minutes from his. Like there's no such thing as a compromise. What should I do? I told him to buy a house on his own and I want no part in it. But is that right? Do I deserve better? His parents are also very controlling and want him to live nearby. Help.
Wow. So I'm going to get this right in my head. So, Louise, your partner works away month on, month off. You live 2 hours away from him, and he wants to buy a house with you, but he wants to buy the house in his hometown and not yours. So, in other words, on the months away when he's working, you're going to be in a town you don't know, with people you don't know. That just seems a little uncompromising to me and quite unfair. I would definitely suggest having another conversation with him about that, just to ask. I would really like to know where he was coming from with that, because I tell you, if that was my situation and the tables were turned, I would want to know that the person that I loved on the months that I was working away was having a really nice time and was surrounded by people that they loved and surrounded by people that could support them, and God forbid if anything happened to them, could help them out. So I'd really be interested to know where his thought process was coming from, that he wanted you to move further away from people you know, so that you also have the months when he's away to just sort of be on your own. And also the months when he's back, you know, this is what's really difficult about, and I mean, I don't have this experience, but I've had experience. I've had relationships with actors, and obviously we do the same. Like, we'll be away for a certain length of time and then we'll come back. And I think the feeling is that when someone's back from home, you're supposed to spend all your time with them because they're back. And that's not the truth, is it? The truth is, for that month he's been away, you've lived your life. You might have certain classes you go to and certain routines that you like and things you like to do after work. And actually, I think all those things should stay in place. I don't think that you should stop living your life on the months he's back because, oh, well, he's back, so I have to see him all of the time. So I think I sort of feel quite strongly that you need to have a really honest, solid conversation with them. And just, first of all, I would say, just tell me where you're coming from with the idea of buying somewhere that's so far away from the people that I love. First, because I would genuinely want to know his thoughts, because I wouldn't want to misunderstand him or misinterpret him. And then I would say, I just don't think that's going to work for me. And then once you get to that situation, then I think then you start to really get into the weeds about your relationship and where you're at and if it's really, what you both want or need. But it is always hard when you meet somebody and they geographically are far away from you. At some point in your life, generally, I think with all the people I know that have done that, they will tend to migrate to one person's town or the other person's town, and that would need to be a big conversation. So hopefully you'll work that out.
Long distance relationship ever?
Not a long distance relationship, but definitely relationships where my partners have been working away a lot, and because I'm used to it, it doesn't bother me so much. And in fact, I can quite enjoy my time when I'm on my own. But I know for some people, say when I was growing up, it was always like when someone's dad worked on the rigs and they'd be away for 2 months at a time or something like that. And I used to always be quite intrigued by that when I was a kid, is what that must feel like. Have you ever had a long distance relationship?
Yeah. But long distance friendships, it's that thing of when people go to uni or whatever and you think, oh, the other side of the country.
Yeah.
I don't know, I have some people that were the other side of the world and, I'm happy for them and you see all the lovely pictures and enjoy, you live it through them.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have a bit of don't forget about little old me in this little town.
I know. I have a long distance friendship. I met my friend Ganilla when I lived in London, in East London. We both met at the gym, and we met later on in life as well, which is always interesting when you have a friendship where you're sort of more grown up. You're adults when you meet, and we were really close, and we were very close and spent a lot of time with each other. And then she moved back to her home country, Sweden, and it's funny because we really don't see each other very much at all. And we don't necessarily speak on the phone very much at all. But I really mean this when I say it. I don't feel less close to her. I feel like I know less about her day-to-day life. But when I'm with her and when we do connect or pick up the phone, or actually more recently I met up with her in London, I just feel very, very close and very connected to each other. And that's really nice because I think that is a real true friendship there, where really a year and a half, 2 years sometimes can go by before you've seen each other face to face, and you just sit down and you're like, so what's happening?
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing's changed, and it's really lovely. And we've always said that we will be friends for life. We know that.
And you're saying how you don't mind being enjoying your own company.
I don't. I think I've just got used to it over the years, and like I said, a few weeks ago, I've got used to having to fill my days and work out what to do with them when I'm not working, and try and work out what I like, what I don't like, what makes me happy, what doesn't. I don't always get it right, but I just I think I'm just better now at just being on my own and just sort of enjoying the solitude. And if I get lonely, then I will try and connect with people. But actually, solitude is different, isn't it? Solitude is more of a choice. You're choosing to be on your own. You're choosing to do all the things that you want to do. And I suppose I quite like sometimes being selfish like that. Or is it selfish? It's not selfish, really, is it? I shouldn't have said that.
I tell you, on a Sunday, every Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
Sunday night, when I get the Sunday scaries, my thing is to not get this under scaries, to
Yeah.
have a little pamper night.
Yeah.
So I'll have a nice bath.
Mhm.
I'll light a nice candle. I'll have a face mask. I'll do something that's a little bit different, and it's about me.
Mhm.
And I always think, oh, I am being selfish because I am from a place of privilege to be able to do this. And then I think, but that's made me feel nice. So why am I selfish about making myself feel nice?
Yeah, that it's crazy, isn't it, that we even use that word? Like it's selfish to just do nice things for yourself. That's actually nuts, isn't it? Of course you have to do that. I mean that then everybody else gets the benefit of that because on Monday morning you're like fresh Emma
Exactly. Well, not
and you
so
smell
fresh.
better.
Oh, thanks, Jill. You're trying to tell us something. There's nothing wrong with looking after yourself, though, is there?
I think it's actually more than that. I think it's really important. And you know, self-care gets bandied around all the time. What is self-care? Well, I suppose it's whatever you want it to be. You know, for some people, self-care is doing a jigsaw on their own in complete silence. Other people, it might be listening to a podcast. Other people might be going for a walk or taking a bath. But for me, it's usually about kind of listening to myself and asking myself if there's something going on and kind of like having a sort of conversation with myself about maybe what I need.
What are the things that you do need? Do you have a theme of things that you do? Or
I think I often find myself sort of questioning a lot. Am I doing enough? Am I sort of trying hard enough? And then really the question always goes back to, am I enough? And that's really where I kind of go, okay, you've gone into sort of a slight sort of bit of self-loathing, bit of self-hatred. Am I enough? You know, am I, the sort of idea of, just who you are and what you are and if you've got anything to offer. So I just sort of, that's when I know that I need to go and walk or exercise or connect because I've gone into a sort of place where I'm kicking myself to the curb a bit, and that's never nice.
it's good that you recognise it, though.
It is, and that's all you can do. I think that to think that you can get rid of those feelings, I think possibly is a bit of a mistake. I think all you need to do is recognise the feelings. Oh, I'm doing that thing again. Oh, well, when I'm doing that thing again, I can do X, Y, or Z to make it better. I think that's all. It's just a toolbox, isn't it, for your own thinking.
Right, our next one is from Shania.
Dear Jill, I'm in my 20s and having huge anxiety in regard to my future. I've tried dating apps, but I never really have any luck. I am bi, but have zero experience due to an assault a number of years ago. When guys find out, they get all weird about it or start making really degrading comments or jokes or start talking super sexually. And I struggle with telling them to stop. As for women, all I get is mixed messages. I do want to, but I'm scared. And I feel like the longer I put it off, it won't ever happen. But then I'm also left feeling like a failure compared to those around me.
Okay, well, first of all, you're definitely not a failure. You're absolutely categorically not a failure. So I know those thoughts are going to come into your head, and I'm not saying, you should get rid of them. I'm just telling you that they're just thoughts. They're not real. So this is always really difficult, isn't it? When you're trying to explore your sexuality and your romantic relationships, but, like you've alluded to, you've had an experience in the past that obviously sounds traumatic. I've been reading lately, and I think it's true because where I've been reading it from seems pretty reliable, that apparently dating apps are on the way out. And what is on its way back in, thank God, is meetups, connection, like big get-togethers, almost like single nights, which when you say it seems so old-fashioned, but actually used to be really, really popular. And I think maybe that could be a really good idea for you to do and to get involved with meetups, because what I think people miss out on these days because of dating apps is just being with people. Just being with men and women, flirting, chatting, having conversation. And you know what? Not necessarily going anywhere with it, just the feeling of being with people, whoever that may be, exploring who you are, exploring your sexuality with them, exploring conversations you're having, your likes, your dislikes, your desires. That's really important. And I feel like on dating apps, what we do is we sort of, we basically judge somebody on a picture, and then we meet up in a coffee shop, and within 5 minutes we've decided if we like or we dislike. Or like you said, you get some people that are, talking to you in a way that just, doesn't feel right for you and feels offensive. So I would do that. I would just search in my area for singles nights, meetups, people of your age, with the idea of just being with lots of people, just being one of my favorite things when I was young and single was just being out, surrounded by other people in sweaty bars and nightclubs, just having a laugh, just having bits of conversation here, bits of conversation there, a little dance here. It was just about feeling like the energy of everyone around you and just feeling like you belonged and you were living and you were breathing. And I feel like dating has somehow sterilized all of that. It's taken away all of that sort of feeling of just being in a room together, being able to like smell each other almost. And I mean that in the nicest way, but that real primal feeling of just, that sort of sexual sort of frisson that you have with people. So that's what I would say. I would say just go out and just start meeting as many people as possible. Nothing ever has to lead to something if you don't want it to. You just have to get used to just being with people of all sexualities and ages and whatever their backgrounds. It's just you just getting to know you, because that's how you get to know yourself, by being with other people. You could like sit in a room on your own for 40 years and you wouldn't know yourself until you went out and met other people, because other people make us feel a certain way. They trigger us in a different way. They make us react in a certain way. And that can be, terrifying and exciting. But it sounds to me like you just really are craving just real, just connection, and also having fun. Just have fun and just keeping it as exciting and as fizzy as you like, without it having to go somewhere that doesn't make you feel comfortable. So yeah, go out, have fun, be with people, and just connect. Get sweaty. Do you know what I mean by that though, Emma? Like when you were younger, and just that feeling of it just felt really alive when you were in clubs and bars and just almost shouting at each other because you could barely hear. But even I used to remember like when somebody like leans in to say something to you and you can sort of feel their breath on your neck and things like that. And it's all of those moments and you're like, oh, it's sexy and it feels fun. And then like, I just feel like dating apps have just killed all of that feeling of just getting in a room together.
There's nothing more scary or more like, when your heart starts flickering, when, someone's looking at you from across the room, they're approaching, they're going to buy me a drink. Oh,
He's coming. He's coming.
Don't panic, stay calm.
What I say.
But making them like, why did I say that?
Mm-hmm.
That means that you're human.
Exactly.
You care.
Exactly. And like less like an interview. And it's really hard when you're on dating apps because you do have to go and meet up with people. You have to see them in person. But it does feel very, and then there's me and then there's you. And you ask me a question, I ask you a question. Whereas when you're in these rooms and you're full of people, you can say 3 sentences to somebody and then you can be off talking to somebody else. And then you can think, oh, actually, I want to go back to that person. I quite like them. It's just fun and takes the pressure off. I really feel for young people now, feeling like that. I just felt like it was just so much easier when I was younger because that's all we had. So that's all we did,
Well, our caller this week is no other than Sophie, who's behind the camera.
Sophie, who's behind the camera, is going to come in front of the camera. Sophie.
Hi, Jill.
How can we help?
Okay, so, dear Jill, I guess there's a bit of a 2-part to this dilemma. Okay. So, I had a best friend in high school. We drifted apart over the years, and then we rekindled our friendship 5 years ago now, and it's been going really well. It's kind of, we kicked back off, I guess, where we left. And My, I guess, issue that's arisen over the past few years is that the industry that she works in means that she works evenings and into the night. And I, being self-employed, always, can make time during the day, but she is very bad at meeting up. She's cancelled quite a few times. Her and her husband were originally very close to our children as well, and it's one of those where it's like, when you have children, as you all know, people kind of should still make a lot of effort with you, even if it's like you might have the children or whatever. So that's, I guess, my first kind of issue, is how do I get across to her that bailing on me multiple times and just kind of not being there is becoming a little bit of a heartbreak, I guess, in a way. And the second part to my dilemma is, throughout kind of my friendship with her and my friendship with her husband, who I went to school with both of them, me and my husband have become quite close with his parents through a very interesting way, in that his mum confides in me a lot about her relationship with my friend. So
Right.
they're like mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship, because my friend isn't particularly keen on having any particular relationship with her, and often, as was mentioned earlier on the podcast, will hide in the kitchen if her mother-in-law knocks on the door. And because we've become quite close, like we've been out for lunch a few times, me and his mum, and now we're at a point where his mum has asked me and my husband to go out for dinner with her and her husband. So it's, because my friend has no idea about this relationship that I have with his mum, and neither does he. So I don't know whether to broach the topic with them and say, maybe don't fill them in on the ins and the outs of some of the stuff that is said between us all. But I feel like, because we've reached a point where now we've been invited out for dinner, maybe I need to tell them that we have this friendship.
That's a very complex situation you're in there.
Yeah.
And how did the parents' friendship come about?
So her relationship and her mother-in-law's relationship has always been not strained, but very challenging, because she's not a family person. So her and her parents have it's not a very close relationship. If I said my family have a WhatsApp chat and we talk literally multiple times a day, and her comment to that was, we don't have a chat, and if I don't hear from my family, it's good, because it means that there's nothing wrong. Which I think his mum's always struggled with, because she's very much a family person. She likes to do things. She just wants to have a relationship with her daughter-in-law, because she, I guess she's then forward looking at what if they have children one day, and she wants to be really involved in everything. So it just so happened that his mum would then ask me out for coffee to air her concerns about their relationship. So I'm just here like, yep, hello, not a problem.
And do you, obviously when you first started spending time with her, it was to air her concerns, but it now seems like you just have a friendship.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you enjoy her friendship.
Yeah, it's almost like having another mother figure in my
Yes.
life. And like, she's made loads of effort with my children. She will pop round and just literally knock on the door, and I don't mind, like, I have a very much an open door policy, and she will just show up with like a bunch of flowers and say, do you have time for a quick coffee? And I'll be like, yeah, absolutely. And I think she's probably gravitated towards that because she doesn't have that with my friend.
Right. Okay.
Help me, Jill.
This is a jigsaw puzzle right here. I mean, you said it yourself, but obviously I think everyone who's listening can see what's happening here. You are the daughter-in-law that she wishes she had.
I don't like to say that.
Well, I know, but it's not your fault, because I think the reason, if we go back to the first half of the problem, why you're struggling with your friendship in the first place is because, and this is not a judgment because we all have stuff going on, but the way your friend has been brought up and her relationship to her family sounds like you've just said, which is If I don't hear from them, then that's good because it's not a problem. But what I don't need is to be connected to them. I don't need to feel close to them. I just need to know that they're all right. And it sounds to me like that's one of the reasons why your friendship has started breaking down, because you are very family orientated. You, like you say, you love speaking to your family. You have an open house policy. I mean, it sounds like you're very, very, you're like, you bring people into your fold. And I think it's really hard for people who are not really, really close. I think people who are not really close to their family either really gravitate towards people who are, or they avoid them. So your friendship probably pre-children, maybe before that, was like, oh, it was fine. And then you've got children and you've got your family and you're very close, and maybe it might scare her, it might put her off, it might slightly might trigger a lot of feelings inside that she wants to have that, but she can't. I mean, the fact that she avoids her mother-in-law kind of says everything you need to know, unless you were saying to me that the mother-in-law was a nightmare, which it sounds like she's absolutely not. So what it's, without sort of psychoanalyzing it sounds like she's very, very scared of intimacy. And I mean that in a way of like familial intimacy, like real kind of friendship and real just day to day, like, how are you? How have you been? What's happening? She'll go out, she'll have fun with you, she'll do all that. But it sounds like she struggles with just letting you in. So if I was you, I would have to say to her, listen, I've been feeling really down about our relationship recently, because I feel like we're not as close as we used to be, and it doesn't feel as intimate as it used to be. And is there a reason for that? And then you got to let her say something. Now she might get defensive and be like, no, I think it's fine. I've not noticed any difference. But you're going to have to stand your ground and say, it's not as it was. And these are the reasons why I feel like, you don't come around very much. And I feel like you don't sort of, like, my family are the most important thing to me. So if that's something that you struggle with, then I'm going to struggle with that, because they're everything to me. And then I think it's probably, I do think you're going to have to tackle the mother-in-law as well. I think you're going to have to say, and listen, this relationship's just evolved, and we're now at a point where we're actually like, I get on really well with her. I think it would just look really odd if she found out you were having dinner with them or going out with them, or it was on social media, or somebody bumped into you at the restaurant. I think she would find that, I think she would probably almost see it as a betrayal. Would you?
And that's my concern.
Yeah.
Is that she would find out one way or another, and it would become a bigger problem than it needs to be.
And I think she would, because I think she's rejecting her, and the idea that you're embracing her will be like a double betrayal for her. So like, I don't want her, and you shouldn't want her either. I mean, I am projecting a bit here, but it just sounds very odd to me that she's pushed her away, and then it seems very natural to me that the mother-in-law has then went, oh, Sophie, she's so nice and she's so welcoming, and she's like somebody that I could, maybe she's lonely and she needs someone to talk to. But I know I say this a lot, although I didn't say it on the first caller, but I think you're going to have to be as honest as you possibly can be, and it's going to be quite awkward, I think.
I think it's going to be a difficult conversation.
It is. It really is. If she's been brought up in a certain way with a certain type of family, her way of protecting herself is just to go into her shell and to be alone. And even if she's sad or lonely, it's easier for her to deal with it on her own than to have to say to you, I feel really sad or lonely. So I think when you have the chat to her, I think it's really important as well that you just say, listen, like, are you okay? She might get defensive. She might not. Just say, because I as your mate and as somebody who loves you, I feel like you might not be, and I just want you to know, like, that I am here for you. But listen, it is very hard when you have friends like that. I don't think it's uncommon that some people move towards their friends and reach out, and some friends just put the blocks up. And the more your life moves on, and the more she sees other people being happy and being connected and having a big village of people around them, the more she might go, I'm going to be on my own. I can only rely on myself. I can only trust myself. That's what I've known since I was a kid. That's how it's going to be. So there's definitely a lot to unpack there, but you seem like such a warm and empathetic person that she was obviously drawn to you for a reason. So you just have to say, listen, I'll always reach out, but actually there's only so much rejection I can take, because it's actually starting to make me feel a bit hurt now as well, because she might not think that you do get, she might think that, oh, she'll be fine. She's got so much going on and she's got a family. So even if I cancel on her, she'll be all right. And you have to say, no, it hurts. Like I want to see you, and it makes me feel like that you don't really care when you say that you don't want to see me.
I've always been the person I think the people have assumed I'm just okay.
Yeah.
Because I've always just said it's okay. Like I'm gonna like I'll be
no
fine.
No worries, don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh well, we'll do it again. It's like, actually sometimes it's worth saying, oh, I'm so disappointed. I actually was really looking forward to seeing you. I actually really feel like I could do with seeing you as well. So part of your part in this is probably to open up and be as vulnerable as you can with her, and just say, actually, I'm actually starting to feel like a bit heartbroken by it. But it is. I mean, there's lots of different threads coming into that story, isn't there? And I think we can both tell that your friend is probably coming from a place of quite a lot of pain, I think. But yeah, if you don't mind, come back and let us know after you've had the conversation. But I mean, I think it'll be tough, but I think be as open-hearted as you can possibly be and come to her from a place of like real love rather than defensiveness. Like, don't be like, you haven't done this. Be like, this is how I'm feeling. Like, am I reading this situation right? And then tackle the mother-in-law situation, which
mother-in-law that's not my mother-in-law.
That's not your mother-in-law,
that
but that wishes she was your mother-in-law, and yeah, and on it goes. And enjoy that dinner.
Thanks, Jill.
Right, well, that's another episode of us done. Thanks to everyone who called in. Thank you, Sophie. That was lovely. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.